Hello parents. Let's talk about how can we be helping our children with autism better at home with the team of professionals that we've been working with. One, let's remember, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work understanding our children, understanding what their needs are. We all need to be taking time to understand the rhythm with which our child works. As we all know, children with autism come with their own body needs, their arousal needs, their body clocks are different. What stimulates or overwhelms their sensory systems is very individual to each child. And as parents and families, we need to take that time to understand what their sensory stimulation systems look like. What are the inputs that overwhelm our children? What are the systems that soothe our children? As you all have discovered that children with autism have their own initial struggles, even figuring out their sleep and awake cycles, what food helps them, what food does not help them, what they would like to consume and what they are going to reject outrightly, are discoveries that we need to be familiar with. Jumping into diagnosis or jumping into therapies to help our children, sometimes I feel we need to take time along with the professionals to first understand what rhythm our child is following and what rhythm do we need to adapt to. As known, working with children with autism is that we as parents and professionals need to be adapting to their needs, and we cannot have our prefixed agendas that they will adapt to. In fact, a lot of times for parents, it is a long process understanding what is it that our child needs, what kind of supports that I need to have, and for all parents, it is a journey of learning new skills. A lot of times what we call personality of the child is very different from what the personality of the parent is. The temperament of the child and the temperament of the parent is different, and in adapting to the temperament of the child, a lot of time parents have to unlearn a lot of habit patterns that they have and relearn the habit patterns that would suit the child's needs better. So knowing this rhythm of the child is very important before we start correcting or putting them through therapies. Also, when children have to go to school, children with autism have to go to school, we need to be evaluating, are they ready for a large group based learning? A lot of times if children do not have communication skills, if they have not learned how to reciprocally follow someone's lead, to know how to follow a teacher, how to learn in a large group setting, more importantly how to learn by observing. If we need a lot of direct teaching and learning for the student to be happening, we need to evaluate, is this child going to benefit from a large group situation, or we need to continue some more learning till they pick up the reciprocal learning by observation. We need to remember this, that though the norm says that by 3 years, 4 years, children need to be in the mainstream school, all children are joining the school. So sometimes as parents we may feel pushed, we may feel social pressure to have our child go to the mainstream school, but we need to first evaluate our child's readiness. Are they ready? Are they going to thrive in that large group setting? It is very common for children with autism to get lost in the crowd. More importantly, they get overwhelmed by the sensory stimulation of noise, of chaos of children getting into their spaces, and they start showing us a lot of behaviors which we see as agitation, irritability, anger outbursts, and we feel surprised that what happened. This was a child who was calm and quiet before they went to school. What could be happening? And sometimes we may end up pushing the child to adapt to that environment. My suggestion is, let's step back. Let's evaluate what is overstimulating, what is the child finding difficult going to the school, and we need to do a fair amount of teaching, preparing, ready them for that setting, and then gradually expose them to a large school setting. Again, we need to know how peers around them are responding to them. It so happens that the young children, or in fact children any age, are discovering their own social skills or their own friendship skills. All children will have different ways in which they want to be with their friends. Some children are trying to be playful, some would even tease each other, whereas a lot of children will not be affected by that, joking around, teasing around, any sorts of comments coming their way. But our children with autism could have sensitivities and not understand that this was a joke or this was a friendly gesture of somebody, and they might end up taking things literally or personally. And we need to be vigilant of what experiences they are coming across at school. Fair amount of talking to teachers, observing our children in school. If we go to school, be their shadows, see what their experience is all about. A lot of times, even if the student is not able to tell us what they are going through, if a parent or a teacher is taking time to observe, we are able to pick up that this is getting in the way. Something is difficult for them and we need to do something to help them. Whether we help them outside the school by having them in different classes, in different learning experience, whether we as parents take on that journey and say, let me teach you the stuff, or we have a school team, say school counselor, school special educator, even the child's classroom teacher do it. It does not matter who is doing it, but we need to remember that they would have their unique learning needs, and we need to be able to be there to handhold and not assume that they will learn with time. They will learn with exposure. They will learn by observing, because that's been like age-old thinking, and a lot of children do learn by observing. But when we know that children with autism may not learn by observing because their observing skills are not very good, also they find it difficult to go back and forth. Just observing people and adapting to the situation is a lot of work for the autistic mind. And because they are getting tired, they may not be able to take a lot of inputs just by observing. So we need to be creating more situations where we are teaching them separately, giving them some practice separately, and then entering into the situation. So as you are able to see that helping your child with autism is a journey in itself. It is not a small piece of time where we discover everything. In fact, each phase that the child goes through, they come up with different struggles. Different needs crop up, and we need to be tailor making interventions, not alone, definitely with all the specialists who are part of the child's training team. So we need to be working all together and knowing that the child is learning, the child is growing, and they have their own unique strengths, and we need to be able to know not maybe all the mainstream school curriculum, maybe not all the mainstream syllabus, but they may come with their unique needs and unique skills, and we want to be able to discover what this child is good at, what is coming naturally to them, what can they strive and thrive towards, and that's when we also will see them shine. We will see them come up with skill sets and surprise us. So whether it is artistic talent, whether it is abstract thinking, in fact a lot of people with autism are visual thinkers. They think well in images and they come up with plans that no one else was seeing. But we need to stay open to exploring those other avenues. Schools' extracurricular activities is something we should be advocating for and getting our students included in those, because that's also where a lot of discoveries in the school system would happen. Being in a good working relationship with your child's school teachers, very, very important, because our teachers are able to see our children in light that we don't see. Our teachers at school are able to see our children in the large group, same age interactions that we usually miss at home, and that's when a lot of good information and working solutions can come our way. I wish you all the best and look forward for this space for more information on how to help your children with autism.